Hey guys, Prowl 1701 here. And today on Face Off, we're asking the question, which master do you like better? Anthony Ainley's master or John Simm's master? Now, for me, it's Anthony Ainley. I prefer his master, especially in those stories where he's able to play the role in a more serious manner. Because Ainley's master in some stories does come across as a little the mustache twirling villain. He almost seems like a caricature of Delgado's master in some stories, but when he's allowed to play the role the way I feel he wanted to play the role, in stories like Survival, Planet of Fire, and my mind went blank. Survival. He plays it really, really well. He has those stories where he plays the role really well, more serious, and I enjoyed that because I like that type of master more. My problem with Sims is one of my least favorite masters. I don't really care for that crazy unhinged master. That's not really my thing. I much prefer like Derek Jacobi's, that brief time he's the master in Utopia. I like that. That's a good take on the master. And I like the way Missy does the master. Maybe it's just easier for me to picture a woman doing the unhinged master thing. So I like her a lot. But Simm's master, while a good fit for Tennant, I don't care for. I do like the way he plays it better in World Enough in Time. Because he plays the master different all three times he plays him. He plays him one way in Series 3, one way in End of Time, and another way in the story with Capaldi with the Cybermen. And I like him the best in that one with Capaldi. I like that version of him the best. He's just a little too unhinged the rest of the time. And even he's still not perfect in that one with Capaldi. He's still not perfect in that, but he is better. And I like the fact he has the master goatee. I like that. But between the two, I definitely prefer Ainley. I enjoy his master. He plays the master for quite a long time, actually. And I think when he's allowed to do what he wants in stories like Legopolis and such, and I think he's really good there. But let's see what you guys think. And 64% voted in favor of Anthony Ainley, with only 26% voting for John Simm, and 10% saying, I can't decide. Now, I know a lot of the people who voted in my polls, we had 152 votes, are people who probably watch a lot of Classic Who. I talk about Classic Who a lot, so I'm sure most of my fan base is people who are also fans of the Classic series. So I'm not surprised Anthony wins this battle. Now, I think if this was a poll on a larger channel or just a more known about poll, I could see Sims winning, as I'm sure there's a lot of people that just watch the Modern Show who would vote for Simm. Which, to be fair, if they only watch the Modern Show, they shouldn't vote at all, because they wouldn't be familiar with Anthony Ainley's master. But that wouldn't stop them. It wouldn't surprise me in a larger poll if Sims won, but I am happy to see Anthony win here. Let's see what you guys had to say, if I can get my mouse to work. Henry Andrews says, I would have to say Anthony Ainley. Yes, John Sims did a good job in Utopia and The Sound of Drums, and was, in my opinion, better in World Enough in Time and The Dr. Falls. He doesn't quite seal it for me. Or sell it for me. Ainley just has that overall master presence about him. He felt menacing and cold. He also felt alien, which sounds strange, but is an important characteristic I feel the master should have. His attire, his look, and that unmistakable laugh. He does have a really good laugh. Are what ultimately makes Ainley the better master, or at least on par with Delgado. I don't know if I'd put him on par with Delgado, but he is good. Bananas Are Good says, this one I genuinely can't decide. They both have great elements to their versions of the master. Ainley is a perfect master for 80s Doctor Who with his Panamon villain performance. Only in some stories is he really Panamon. In others, he's actually pretty solid. And John Sims is a great energetic master to play off against Tennant's equally energetic Doctor. I definitely agree with that. So they're both winners from each era they're from. I knew this was going to be difficult, but I didn't think that even you would be so stupid as it would be impossible. Anthony Ainley from The Five Doctors. I do like that line. Shamrock Particle says, good poll. I voted Ainley, but knowing me, there's a novella just waiting to be told. Sims was not miscast, but he was squandered in Tennant's era to the point that even Daffy Duck had more believable menace. To compare, in the Capaldi finale, he's up there with the best. Simm, that is. So I'm glad Sims returned to the show. His master could be truly malicious and not just something out of a cable channel cartoon. To use a magic wand to turn people into doe-eyed golems stuck in a cage where he dances lamely to pop music. It's not too different for Ainley as well. With a good script, he shines right along with the story. Chalk and Castrovalva, Planet of Fire, and Survival are great examples of this. I agree. Even Mark of the Ronnie has a couple moments that are better than the too frequent moments of I have you now, Doctor. All of which, even in one instance, happens in the otherwise sublime Castrovalva. But his other stories, he's even told to be over the top, and there's nothing menacing to balance it. At least he wasn't editing lightning bolts like Emperor Palpatine or other cartoon characters on demand. Not that I have an opinion or anything of the matter. Problem being, says Ainley, hands down, he was my master growing up and is the most mastery next to Delgado. While Ainley has a reputation of being camp and pantomime villain, Sims is way more hammy, and the whole Tony Blair act was a little too on the nose. Forsyth, who is actually an old subscriber of mine, who's been with me since I was doing lightsaber reviews on my Prowl 1701 channel, actually. It's always good to see FT. I hope you're doing well, buddy. He said, I voted too for Anthony. He was the master for my era. He was, as others mentioned, just that bit menacing and alien. John, for me, had been spoiled as I'd seen him in the TV show Life on Mars, just before his run in Who, and in Life on Mars he plays Sam Tyler, an everyday man police detective. And this everyday hero character spilled over and I couldn't see him as the menace the master should be. But eventually I warmed to Mr. Saxon by the time of Sound of Drums. Paul Bailey, a fellow Doctor Who YouTuber, says Anthony Ainley is the best master ever, plus the longest master as well. I love every story he is in, including Time Flight. He brought something great to the role of the master, my number one master. Nice. He is a good master. Cody W1, also a fellow Doctor Who YouTuber, says Ainley is my favorite master. David Hammond, oh Ham, I'm still just going to call him Ham, said, I thought John Sims was a far better actor and he felt more of a realistic take for me. Ainley is still excellent. I felt the writing let him down a bit. The Flyattractor, who's also one of my patrons, says Anthony Ainley by, well, further than a TARDIS can travel on one tank of Archon energy. I mean, John Sims is a good actor, but his master is way too goofy and flighty. Pretty much the same for Missy, too, at least for me. I like Missy myself. Again, I guess it's easier for me to believe a woman being unhinged like that. LOZ Hallett 1 says, the trouble with Ainley is that he followed the original and best, Roger Delgado, and he basically did a straight copy complete with pointy beard. This to me came across like a tribute band or a shadow copy of the original. Also, Delgado's time allowed for his pantomime approach to the role. I don't really think of Delgado's portrayal as pantomime. Ainley doing a similar thing 10 years later didn't really work. Also for me, 80s Doctor Who is about the most beige, bland, non-interesting. I disagree. I find the 80s Doctor Who to be extremely colorful. Look at most of season 24. It's bright. And look at the intro to Colin's era. I find in the 80s to be a very colorful era. And so Ainley was the master at the worst time. Sims, on the other hand, put a different spin on the role, which is part of people's issue with it. And unlike Ainley, made the role feel of that time. Fair enough. And then Nakia Ko said Delgado. In which place I was like, but which do you prefer between Ainley and Simm? He said, he said Delgado or Jacoby. And he goes, okay, if I had to choose, I'd pick Ainley. Which I said Jacoby's high on my list too. I do like Derek's master a lot. So, that's what everybody had to say. 64% voted for Anthony Ainley. 26% voted for John Sims. And 10% said they can't decide. And I am in agreement with the poll here. I do prefer Anthony Ainley's master over John Sims. master. So if you didn't get a chance to vote in that poll, comment down below. I'd like to know what you think between those two masters. Other things to do, click the like button and the subscribe button and the bell for notifications so you never miss out on another video. I also have a Patreon if you would like to contribute to what I do, if you enjoy what I do. There's a link to that down in the description below. There is also a link to my Amazon wish list as well. I update that regularly, as well as my P.O. box if there's anything that you would like to send me. I want to give a special shout out to the 5th Doctor and Stephen Crane. I appreciate their continued support and the support of all of my patrons. Most importantly, though, thank you for watching.